Hey everyone, this is Jeff from Time for a New Watch, and today I'm going to be showing you the Vostok Compressor Re-Issue Project Watch from Meranom.com and Watch.ru. This may not actually be a compressor, but everyone will refer to it as such, so I might as well go along with that. This was a project started on Watch.ru in 2014. And it finally came to fruition and started shipping just recently in 2018. So this has been a long time in the making, and it came out pretty well. It's based on a watch that looks just about the same that was made in probably the 80s. And it also had two crowns and an internal bezel and probably actually had a compressor case. So the dimensions on this watch are, let's see, the case width is 43 millimeters. The thickness is, I've seen 13.9 millimeters quoted, but calipers say it's 13 millimeters thick. And lastly, the lug-to-lug length is 49 millimeters. So that's kind of pretty close to the limit for me. I used to have a Longines Legend diver, which was 54 millimeters in lug-to-lug length, and that just didn't sit right on my wrist. There was lug overhang. It was a beautiful watch, but it didn't work for me. So, next thing we've got is you can see there's an internal bezel here. This crown up top, this works the internal bezel. This is the main feature of a compressor watch. This one has clicks. I wish it was smooth, as you can see the clicks don't always line up perfectly. There's a little bit of play to it between the clicks so you can get it to line up, which is what I do, but there you go. So another thing, notice the crown here. It's not the kind of wobbly amphibian crown that you're used to seeing. This one is actually spring-loaded, and it feels a lot nicer than most Amphibia crowns. So let's move on to the crowns here. You see they are not signed. They're mirror polished. There's no hatch marks, nothing. They feel, like I said, a lot better than most Amphibia crowns. So this one we've seen that deals with the internal rotating bezel, and this one here, of course, winds and sets the time. So it feels just fine setting the time. It actually feels smoother than a regular Amphibia crown because it's not loose, it's not wobbly, it's spring-loaded. There's no clutch in there like in the regular Amphibias. It just feels a lot nicer. So on to the movement. There's nothing special about the movement. It's the same movement as every other Amphibia with the date, and the same movement also as the original compressor. Just your regular undecorated Vostok movement. So next, the strap. The strap looks really nice on this watch. I think it really matches well. It's like canvas or something with a leather backing. It has a very nice brushed signed buckle right here. It's kind of beefy on this end. Two keepers here, one fixed, one floating. And now on to the only bad part. The strap is also kind of stiff too, but I've heard, I haven't actually worn it with this strap, but I have heard that the strap softens up nicely with just some bending or some general wear. So the only thing that I can really fault it with is, take a look, you can see right there, the strap is actually 19 millimeters thick, or 19 millimeters in width, and this is a 20 millimeter lug width. So there is a gap on each side. It's barely noticeable, but it is there. So next, the glass here. It's not acrylic like on most Amphibias, but it is also not sapphire. It's a mineral crystal, and I believe it's single domed because you get a lot of distortion there, as you can see. But either way, it looks nice on this watch. It's very clear. And I think it matches with the watch. They have kind of modernized it with size, especially. The original was 40, this is 43. The original had acrylic, this has mineral crystal. So it's a nicely modernized version of the original. So the Lume, you can see the 12 here, the dots and the lines at 5, 10, 15, 20, all of those, and the triangle on the internal bezel at 12 are all lumed. The lume is not great, but that's to be expected with Vostok. And especially on the triangle, I could barely see the lume. When all the other lume was glowing, that was just barely glowing, and none of it lasts very long. So next, we've got the case back. It's got a Scuba Dude case back, which Meranom has offered for quite a while, but hey, when this project started, it might have been pretty new and revolutionary. But yeah, I don't really know about that. I wasn't too into watches in 2014 when this started. I got onto the waiting list in 2016 and just recently got it. So lastly, how limited is this? You can see on the case back here that there are 250 of these with this dial and the date. I personally like this style better, but there is one other that is limited to 150. And that one has no date, and it has like 12369 dial. And I just didn't like it as much, but that's all of these that are going to be made. So before we wrap up, let me quickly bring out a Neptune so you can get an idea of just the size of this. So here they are, side by side. You can see that the compressor is quite a bit larger than the 40 millimeter Neptune, which is of course to be expected. And that's about all there is to know about this watch, that I know of anyway. So if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and like it, subscribe, leave a comment, do whatever you want. And thanks for watching. This was Jeff, and this was the worstly named channel on YouTube, Time for a New Watch. Thank you for watching.